Trinidad, I love the Ridelaong, sailing the Caribbean Sea with an old captain named Eric Williams. Oh yes, it's smooth and free. But sadly, Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a wall. Captain,
the ship is sinking.
Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa.
I love that song.
You do?
Yeah, man, that was a nice one.
I didn't know you know that song. Hey.
Captain, the ship is sinking. I love that song.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. All the ship is sinking. We don't know. We don't know. All your shady ting, shady ting, shady ting. It's funny.
I love that
all your
song.
shady ting, everybody shady ting. Ian Baker, Tamika Rogers, how you doing? Hey, Lydia James, speak up yourself.
And Lydia Haddad Delima, thank you for joining. How are you? Cleopatra, Lydia James, Tamika Rogers, Lacey J.
Lacey J, good evening to you, Lacey J. How you doing? I want to go to the part and hear everybody sing.
Yes.
Captain, ship is sinking. Captain,
the seas are rough.
Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. We don't know. Captain, you tell us what to do.
Oh, what a day, what a day. I need that because it is rainy here. The storm is going over. So.
It's raining there too?
Yeah, man, bad. Yeah, man, bad.
It's raining here too?
Pretty bad. We have ETA. Remember, it came up through Honduras, that bad storm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a category 1. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Yeah.
Wow. So is it high winds as well?
Yeah, man. You can hear the winds. It's like really loud outside. You can definitely hear it.
Okay. I hope you guys doing well. Well, over here we're just having rain. We just having consistent rain. Guys, as you come in, share the program and say I share. And Funday, you're getting real love. It's a long time, Funday. It's a long time we did not do a roll call.
That is true. We just take for granted now. We know where everybody is from.
That is not good.
You are absolutely correct.
We have to do better than that. You know, we have to do better than that. So we are going to do a roll call right now, guys. We want to know where you're from, where you're watching us from. Big up your country and put up your flag. Put up your flag, everybody. Hey! Roll call.
Roll call. Where you're from.
Roll call. Let me know where you're watching us from. Hey, welcome. Hey, Margaret Aline. The attorney always make me feel so happy. Oh,
and look at Geraldine. So Geraldine is in the United Kingdom. So it's almost probably midnight. Geraldine, what time is it there?
Yeah, it's about 11. It's after 10. Look at Antigua Barbuda. Big up Antigua Barbuda in the building.
Hey, Tammy Borland. Hendrickson Williamson. Yes.
Look. Greeting from the DVI massive.
DVI in the house.
massive. hey.
Brooklyn. Come on, we can't leave out Brooklyn. Come on.
Brooklyn. Hold on. Jamaica
Any
in
Jamaica
the
yet?
building.
I haven't seen any
Look at Jamaica right
Jamaica.
there.
Where?
Tamoy. Borland.
It must not be showing on mine. I do
I don't know what
not.
happened to you. Look at Tomlin right there. Grenada in the
Grenada
building.
and look at that. Cyrus K in Mexico. How is
Where
it?
Mexico?
Mexico right there. Cyrus K.
Oh shoot, Cyrus.
Mexico. We're international.
We are
Canada.
Canada. How you doing?
So it is 11 p.m. in the United Kingdom.
It's 11 p.m.
Yes, and
New York.
Queens,
New York.
Vincy in Jocelyn Langdon, Canada. A lot of Canada. Roger Livingston.
Yeah. Look. Roger Livingston. Grenada. Yes. London. Grenada, US. Jocelyn, big up yourself. Grenada. Who win? Like if we had to sum up, Funde, if we had to sum up everybody, right? All the viewers on there, who you think would win cumulatively? If we had to add everything up, who you think would win?
I think maybe Grenada.
You think so?
Who you think? I see a lot of Grenada. I'm gonna be fair.
What?
Nessie Braithwaite is Grenada. Deborah.
Trinidad. Look at Trinidad.
Hey, Cindy. Welcome.
Trinidad,
welcome
BVI.
Yes.
St. Lucia in the building.
Brooklyn, New York. Hi, Denise.
Yes.
I think Grenada would win, Junior.
Grenada would win, right?
I think so.
You think Grenada would win?
Yeah, fair is fair.
Grenada have a lot. Yeah. Thank you. You give up on that one, easy girl. You never fight.
I'm not even gonna fight you.
You don't fight. I'm not fight.
I think and a close second might be Canada. There's a lot of Canada coming in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, because
Roger
Canada is my second home.
Right. Makes sense.
Canada is my second home.
Canada.
I love Canada.
Hey, Dion Fraser. Lydia James is present.
Lydia, Cheryl Peters in the building. That's what I'm talking about. We're international.
We are super international.
Super international. I saw Mexico. Have you been to Mexico?
I have quite a few.
Yeah, I love Mexico.
Remember Mexico's right there in Mexico is like
Mexico right there. Yeah. Love Mexico. Love Mexico.
Hello, Mexico.
Jamaica watching.
So Michelle Stoltz. Wait, I take it back. The race start over because the Jamaicans are showing up. Jamaicans, we're fashionably late. All my Jamaicans showing up. Carolyn Beckford, Michelle Stoltz. My Jamaicans are in the house. So let's hold on, look a bit. We're gonna do a little recount. We're gonna do a little recount.
Wait, they don't come with your recount thing, Don't come. Where they go out with that?
In fact, I'm filing a lawsuit. I need a recount.
Go right ahead.
If I'm winning, stop counting. As long as I'm winning, just stop counting. Stop counting. Yes.
Stop the goddamn counting. You're winning too much.
If I'm winning, stop the husband. Michelle Stoltz, her husband's Jamaican. That makes you Jamaican, Michelle. So
listen, I hope you don't have
Carolyn Beckford, Jamaican.
I hope you don't have to take the Supreme Court to court.
Right? I just might have to. I want to give a special shout out to Carolyn Beckford, nurse Carolyn Beckford. She works out of New York and during COVID was putting in mad hours taking care of patients, putting herself out there. So for her and all the nurses out there, big up and thank you.
That's right. No. Funde.
Yes, sir.
What the hell is going on in the United States of America? What is going on? Oh my God.
I feel like you and I have been talking about this election for a month.
It's just been a week or so.
It's last week, but it doesn't feel like it. Oh, you know what, Junior? We didn't mention the veterans. Today's Veterans Day.
So
if we have any veterans on here, thank you for serving.
Yes, thank you so much.
Let's all acknowledge our veterans. If you're here, acknowledge our veterans too. You're welcome, Carolyn. You're welcome. Thank you, Carolyn, for tuning in and putting in those long hours in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, and before we go on as well, I want everybody to share the program to one friend. Invite one friend, bring them in. All you can have it, be having all the fun for all yourself. Don't be selfish. Don't be selfish on Wednesday. You could be selfish on Monday. Don't be selfish on a Wednesday, please. Don't do it. Be nice.
So what is going on, Junior? So President Trump, President Trump is not, he's not turning over. He's not saying he's lost. He's still maintaining that there might be some election fraud. So we still don't have this peaceful transition of power, which typically we would have seen, like a concession speech or him calling I don't even do. Are we calling Biden president-elect? What are we calling?
Of course, I'm calling him president-elect.
All right.
That's what I'm calling him. Biden is the president-elect. He accomplished 279 electoral votes. He's going to be the next president of the United States. Like it or not, that's what's going to happen.
Right. So he's not conceding. President Trump still has not conceded. And there have been so many lawsuits that have been filed. We still don't know if we're going to have a peaceful transition of power. So that's not good. It doesn't look good for the country as a whole. And then it doesn't look good for our democratic process. It just looks like our processes do not work. And I hear a lot of people comparing this election to the election of 2000. I think it's a little different. When we had the Bush and Gore.
War. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. This is a totally different type of vibe.
Totally
different type of vibe. Totally different. Yes.
In 2000, it was a matter of, it was one state, right?
Florida.
It was Florida. It was a dispute in Florida. Now we have 4 or 5 states?
He has created those 4 or 5 states. So he's saying, for example, in the state of Georgia, dead people were voting. And I think it's proven that dead people were voting in Georgia, but it was like 40.
Right.
So it's not this huge number. So even if he were to kind of go forward on some of those, he still wouldn't win because of the numbers. There's so many numbers against. The numbers are not stacking up for him.
Fonda, let me tell you this, right? Because you're a legal expert. I want to throw this at you, right? The biggest loophole in the law, and you probably could move forward in binding that loophole. The biggest loophole in the law is taxes. Let me tell you why I say this.
Okay.
You know, they say that if you are Jamaican, or if you are Grenadian, or if you are born outside of the United States, then you cannot become president because your affinity would be to whatever country you were born in, right?
Right.
Now, when any person attempting to get the highest office in the land, they should and must present their full taxes. Must. It's not a if, it's not a maybe, it's not a anything, but a must. Because that loophole, right? If that loophole was mended and it stated that you must present your who you owe money to. Think about it. If you owe China, or you owe Russia, or you owe Mexico, you're gonna have partiality to them because that's where your bread and butter coming from if you don't reveal your full taxes. So I think taxes have a bigger stake than where you were born.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. And I think this might have been the first president, because typically when you're running for president, as part of the requirement is you turn in your tax returns. And I think this is one of the first times we've seen a president refusing to have us dig into his finances. I don't know, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I want to say this might have been the first time that we've seen a president so adamant about not having his financial documents disclosed. In fact, I think we just learned about his true tax returns just like this year. Yes. So this is kind of one of the first, because, to become president of the United States, I mean, there's a huge background check. You know that.
Yes.
They're going to flip you and turn you and figure out to make sure you don't owe anybody anything, right?
Yes.
And, so I think this presidency is one for the history books. A lot of firsts.
Think about it, Fundy. If Trump put in his nomination papers to become the president, and they said, okay, put in your nomination papers, pay the money, whatever, present your full taxes. Let me see your transaction. Do you think we would have been in the position that we're in right now?
I don't know. I'm not willing to say yes or no yet. I don't know. So you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, if he had shown us everything, he would not have qualified for the presidency?
He would not have qualified because I think Russia has a word called compromat, or there's a word for it, compromat, or some kind of whatever it is. But there's a word. And that means that they hold something like they hold something on you. Right? And I still firmly believe that Russia have something on Donald Trump. Hence the reason why he could never speak out against Russia, whether it's financial ties, whether it's whatever, right? I think that there is something in Russia. Also, what is his obligation to China? We all know the president did all sorts of businesses, all sorts of different things. Does he have an overwhelming amount of debts?
It's possible. It's possible because he's, the president was an avid businessman. He was a businessman before. Most people, and I think that's what made him so attractive in 2016, is that a lot of people were career politicians, and that they all came through, the House, the Senate. Remember, Donald Trump came out of nowhere in 2016 and got this nomination. So he did not have a political life per se, right? So he came to the presidency off of being kind of like you and I, a business person.
Right.
He wasn't sitting in the House or sitting in the Senate, or he didn't come up through the traditional political route. So it wouldn't surprise me if he had some sticks in the bush out there. That would not surprise me at all.
Taxes is a big, big deal. Who you owe debt to, everybody present your full taxes. Let me see who you owe debt to. Let us see.
Or your credit history, or maybe even Junior, your credit history. Even yes, your taxes, but also your credit history, your finances, all that. I agree.
I think that has to be, because after this whole election season is gone, they have to go back and amend a lot of laws. The whole thing about the GSA, that organization that people know very little about, the GSA, who is like that transitioning body that put funds and allocate funds for the incoming the president-elect, and their role is so big. But who has control over the GSA? The president. That is nonsensical.
But we're learning a lot. I think every election, especially the ones that are contested, such as this, we learn a lot about a lot of things. Right. So I think once we go through this one, we're going to have to clean up our house a little bit. We have to clean up our house.
There have to be laws. More laws to prevent a person from becoming a tyrant. Right? Because America they trust a lot. We trust a lot. We trust a lot of things. Like we trust to order Uber Eats. And nothing wrong with Uber Eats. But do you know how much trust you had to put in somebody to pick up your food and drop it to your house for you? Something that you don't even pay attention.
Something very personal.
It's very but we trust that person is just a good person. They would take your food and just come and bring it to you without messing with it. And I ain't saying that happens, but we trust too damn much. We trust things like it would just happen. You trust people to be good, but really and truly, people are bad. People have bad traits, and if you don't put laws in order, you're not preventing the next person from becoming a tyrant or doing or appealing to the bad side. Loopholes. Immigration. Let's talk immigration now. What the hell is happening in immigration?
I don't even know how we can talk immigration when this man will not.
I know.
It's like, and you know what scares me with immigration too? There's so many local things facing our country, right? We have COVID. It's almost like I'm still scared about what's going to happen with immigrants because we have all these other issues, the economy.
Yeah.
We have COVID. We don't know what's going to happen to our stock market. We have all these
We have a lot of stuff.
things. We have so much stuff, Junior.
Margaret asked a question, and I think it's important. Guys, by the way, we open up the phone line. This is our conversation. So we open up the phone lines. Margaret says, how does releasing taxes and credit history impact governance? Good question. Very good question. In fact, as we open up the phone lines right now, I'm going to answer your question, Margaret, but I want to open up the phone lines to give you guys an opportunity to call in, because this is not just me and Funde beating our gum on a Wednesday.
Of us. Yes.
Everybody at chat. We all at chat. All right. Listen. And she raised a good point. She included credit history and taxes. Now, it's very important at this day and time, at this day and age, and it plays a big role. Everything you do as a regular citizen, your taxes or your credit history goes into play. Everything. If you're making any big purchase, you're buying a house, you're buying a car, you're buying a freaking bicycle. If you're trying to get an extended loan at Courts, well, I don't know, Courts don't have credit history, but here, anything you're buying, it tells how you have been, what kind of person you are. I think taxes tells a lot about a person. I think credit history tells a lot about a person. If we look at the credit history of Trump, we'll understand that his history, his financial history has been in turmoil from day one. From day freaking number one. This is a man that is said to be, he hired a lot of illegal immigrants, didn't pay them, and tell them, take him to court. Take him to court. Because you know them immigrants, they don't have green card. A lot of them who work for him, they're not going to take him to court because why?
Right.
You know, they don't have documents. Then you have a lot of payments that person would have taken out and failed to pay those monies, right? If you cannot run your household, how the hell you gonna run a country? How the hell you gonna run the United States of America if you're failing to pay your little phone bill and your little light bill? This is how you're gonna go into governance thinking that you should operate and function like that. I think that it has a lot to do with the integrity of a person, how they manage their household. You wouldn't take somebody who don't know how to manage a small business and put them the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Right. How do you do that?
I think a lot of people were excited, Junior, in 2016 because of that very reason for Donald Trump, because he was an astute businessman, right? He's had all these businesses prior to coming to the White House, and they thought for sure he was going to be good for the economy. They wanted a business person who could have kind of turned around the economy in 2016. I think that's where the excitement was, not so much whether he had filed bankruptcy or he had, failed businesses, Trump University, Trump Vodka. I think for lots of Americans, it was exciting because he had that business acumen, and that's what they were attracted to. It was that side of him.
True.
It was that side of him.
But they did not see that the real meat and bolt of the man, right? He claimed to be a millionaire, right? But he ran a business. He ran a series of casino, all of which went bankrupt.
That is true.
Hillary Clinton said something, and I chuckle a little bit, but it's true. If you run a casino, how the hell you go bankrupt? Like they say, the house always wins.
In his case, the house didn't win.
The house didn't win.
The house didn't win. I think.
How do you file bankrupt? You run a company, you go bankrupt. You run a company, you go bankrupt. You run a company, you go bankrupt. And then you say, okay, I could take on the job of the biggest job in the whole world. And you're thinking, well, he's going to do anything different? He ain't going to change. He's not going to walk into the office, a 78-year-old man, and say, well, I'm a changed person. I now understand this. No, she said something that's very important. The president doesn't handle finances. The power of the purse is given to the house. Yes, you are right. The president is like this. You have a house with your kids, right? And say the wife or the husband, and then you have kids. The husband go to work, he bring the thing, and he take care of everything, and the wife, basically allocate funds, but the husband still have a major part to play. This man could write executive orders and make people do things, put people in position.
Still does. He still does. He
Yeah.
still does to some extent. Of course, there's checks and balances in place, but he still does. And I think Margaret Francis is making a good point. In 16, people are tired of she calls it the politicking, the politrick in Washington. And I think that's what it was. People were genuinely attracted to see that he was not a Washington staple. Like he would be this fresh face, fresh voice, fresh ideas, in the district, and that's what got them excited, and that's what they thought he was going to bring to the table.
I want to add another attorney to the conversation. Attorney Kevin Miller. He's with us. Kevin, how the hell you doing, my brother?
I am good. Hello, Johnny.
Hello, counselor. How are you? Thank you for joining us.
Kevin, we're happy to have you on the program here with us. On this program, we talk immigration. We talk what's happening in immigration, but we had to talk a little bit about what's happening currently with this craziness that's happening. Give us you're an attorney. Give us your vantage point view as to what the hell is happening in the United States of America. Sorry.
Where did you get Guyana from, Junior?
Because Guyana always have long elections.
Oh, okay.
Very long elections.
Okay.
Very, very long elections. Go ahead.
The United States of Guyana.
Well, I think first and foremost, one of the things that I observe happening is that I would say the supporters of our outgoing president were taken a bit by surprise in terms of how much people really wanted to get rid of this current president that has a few days left in office. But one of the things that I'm not even perturbed about whether or not there's going to be some kind of concession speech or whatever is going on in terms of the taking over and the exchange of power.
Right. As
a person who I've been close to politicians, my dad was a politician. And one of the things that I would say to America is that I pay little attention to the speaking, so to speak. I look more to the actions. Okay. What is it that this change now means for us? What is it that's going to be happening in terms of the wider populace getting some kind of recognition, some kind of benefit, some kind of justice, if we may?
Right.
Because politicians, as we know, have many voices. They speak every single language that they know or hope that you would hear. So my thing is, I want to see actions. Yes. Are we happy for the change? Of course we are. But what what are the changes? Let's see them.
Right. Well, for me, and that's a good question that you raise, right? That's a good question that you raise. But I think that when you're going through, like say for instance, you're trying to sleep and you have a toothache, right? And you are hungry. Which one would you attend to first?
The toothache.
The toothache? Which one would you attend to first, attorney?
Well, I rather be feeling pain on a full stomach, so I'll eat first.
You eat first.
Yeah,
it's interesting. That is a very interesting perspective how we may look at things differently, because based on what you just said, I could almost think how you thinking about this process. I could almost understand how you're thinking about this process here just by how you answer this question. Now, if we're in a crisis or we're in a situation, I am in my bed and I got a toothache and my belly started to grumble. The pain of that tooth would I would have to take care of the toothache.
I have to take care of the toothache first. I don't think I can just get up and have a meal.
No, how you gonna eat? How you gonna eat, attorney, when you have a toothache?
But well, have you ever felt hunger before?
Of course.
Okay, so if you have felt real hunger, then a toothache is a small drop in the bucket as it relates to real hunger.
Attorney, come on.
Yes. And it might sound, a toothache is concentrated in one section. Okay, you're feeling pain in your mouth.
Uh-huh.
When you're hungry, it affects your entire body, your entire being. Your brain starts, shutting down. You feel weak. You having headache. You have all kind of different things going on. So personally, taking care of the hunger may release even some of that pain you're feeling from that toothache.
Okay.
But how are you gonna eat?
How are you gonna eat? How are you gonna swallow?
Be creative.
So, attorney Kevin, the toothache is Trump.
Mm-hmm.
The hunger is Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is a soaring toothache in your mouth, and you're trying to go to sleep. The toothache, it aches your face, your mouth. You can't eat, you can't sleep. God, you can't even go to the bathroom. You are just in a state. You can't think. You can't even think of what your belly is saying because your toothache is just sending you crazy. That's Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Sending you freaking mad. You can't think. Now, Biden might be the hunger. It's less. It's the hunger. You need to drink some water, eat some food. Yeah. I'm not talking about the hunger that you will feel if you and eat for like 20 days. And I'm talking about you in bed, you're trying to sleep. It's not years and years of hunger. Just a hunger.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take care of the toothache first. So in this case, Trump represents something that is eminent and need to be replaced now. Right now. It's a problem now. It is confusing people now. It is sending people crazy now. Needs to be get rid of. That's my analogy. Not the hunger.
Well, your analogy based on the toothache and removing that toothache. Now, I'm a dental tech in the military, so I know what you're talking about in regards to toothache and what is required to get rid of that pain or get rid of that tooth or teeth, if you may.
Yeah.
In a case by comparing Trump to a toothache, then there's what we call topical anesthesia, or we try to numb a particular section of your mouth or the particular tooth that's giving you whatever issues that's giving you.
You need to pull it out. You don't want no topical treatment.
If that tooth represents Donald Trump, then I'll remove that tooth from my mouth without even topical, which means I'll take care of that tooth first.
Yes. Okay. Trump. That's where we talk. Now we're talking. Now we're talking to a lot of people in the black community that looks just like us. Trump is that toothache.
Yes.
We have 250 something thousand people that just died from COVID. People might say we can't put that to the feet of one man. I say, yes, you can. Because I take full responsibility what happened to my family. So when I heard that COVID was going down that path, I took the initiative to tell my family and set rigid plans. Anybody going to pick up mail at that door, it has to be me. Everybody that I don't want nobody else coming from outside, take off your shoes. I made rules and regulation to protect my family. My family is the population. Trump knew how bad it was, but he did not protect the population. So anything that happened had to fall square at his feet. That is high class murder.
I'm happy you say that, Jonah, because I'm not speaking on behalf of the military. Today is Veterans Day, and I want to give a shout out to all the veterans that's serving and those who have retired and the likes. Now, as our outgoing commander-in-chief, it begs a question whether or not this is someone who you could trust to have your back on the battlefield. And what I mean by that is he sums up the type of leader that he is in so little words, in the sense that there's no way you could trust someone who don't even trust themselves.
And that's a good point.
As a commander-in-chief, who I think should garner the amount of respect that each and every one of us would look to and would easily pick up our arms and go to war and say, we're going to defend everything that this person is saying because we trust his word. No, it's not like that, based on what I'm seeing. So to me, it is devastating. It was devastating because we're moving through that era. We're passing that era. And when we look at someone who don't even respect, you're talking about someone who speaks down to service members who have died in combat, service members who have been captured overseas. It begs the question as to, are you really our commander-in-chief? And I speak it hands down without any reservation that, it begs a lot of question.
Yeah. Guys, we're talking immigration, but we had to touch on this. It's too difficult. It's so difficult to focus, as Funde said. We can't just talk immigration without talking about the elephant in the room. There's like a grizzly bear elephant. It's like a huge elephant in the room. We have to talk about it before we even start talking about immigration. But Attorney, happy we have you here. Funde, I'm not brushing your side. We talk all the time.
Listen. I was like, wait a minute. I'm good, Junior. You and I talk all the time, so it's nice to get some fresh faces and new faces to the show. Welcome, Kevon.
I want to play this. I want to play this, and I want you guys' reaction to it. Listen to this.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
I saw that today. I saw that today. And I think that's one of the Trump supporters. What's his name? Secretary of something.
Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo.
Yes. So I did see that today, and it just goes to show, I think, how things are breaking down, right? Because here we have a president who has clearly lost, and he's refusing to step aside. And now we have his supporters. He has supporters saying, look, there's going to be a second term. So I'm curious to see what the president's plan is going forward.
Yeah. Attorney, Kevon, what's your take?
Right. So it questions the democracy that we hold so dear. It questions the democracy that many have fought and died for. And when you have a nation like the United States of America, and the people have gone to the polls and they've made their decision, they have spoken. And it should not be that at this stage we are questioning whether or not the president is going to step aside and allow the president-elect to have a smooth transition. This is not the United States of America. This is not what America was built on. And look at it. If we're talking about democracy, if we're talking about respecting the voice of the people, and we, as the world police, so to speak, where we have gone into the nations and the countries of other folks who don't see democracy as we see it, and we're dictating to them how politics should be in their hometown, but yet still we're at this stage in 2020 where we are putting A, B, and C, and D plans in place should the president decide that he's not going to leave office come January. It should not be. This is not the United States of America. And then we have, obviously, his supporters who have now decided, or who have chosen self-gratification over democracy, over the voice of the people. This is not the United States. We should not be at this stage of the game thinking whether or not the president is going to step aside and allow the president-elect to take office smoothly.
Attorney Deanna Winterfunde, you guys are lawyers and you guys are in court a lot. And Kevin, you are also in criminal defense.
Yes.
So you could give us perspective on this. Evidence. And you guys, your whole career is bringing forth evidence. The person with the strongest evidence would ultimately win. The judge make that decision. Now, based on what you've seen, based on what is proposed by Giuliani and Trump as it relates to the fraudulent count of X amount of ballots, do you see any credible evidence that would make the case for what they're trying to make?
Well, based on what I've seen, what I've observed, and what I've heard so far, all I'm seeing is gut feelings, hurt, disappointment. But I must hasten to say that every single crime have what you call elements. And these elements can only be proven if you have the evidence. So gut feeling is not evidence. Having a hunch is not evidence. Feeling hurt is not evidence. And therefore, I don't see in any way, shape, or form where to this point, without coming forward with tangible evidence, that they have a case. I don't see that.
Attorney Deanna Winterfunde.
Yeah. I think, I agree with Attorney Miller. And I think that's one of the issues the administration is facing, is that they're filing these lawsuits. And I also have to almost appreciate our system, right? Because it's giving somebody who thinks they have a right to something the legal pathway to seek whatever recourse they can. And I think we've seen with this administration that they're a little bit lost. First of all, they're shocked that the numbers came out the way it did. So now we have the president just kind of floundering out there. And they have brought forth, I think, 4 lawsuits to date. And the allegations that have been made in those lawsuits, they've all become unfounded. So there isn't a lot of basis for this administration, or where this administration is able to turn. Because and you talk about evidence, Junior, so they have presented some evidence to some extent, right? We see in the case of Georgia, where I think one of the allegations were that dead people were voting.
Okay.
Sure enough, 40, I think it was like 40, the amount of dead people that had registered to vote and voted. The number was like 40, but the president is trailing by, I believe, like almost 14,000 votes. So even if the president were to put all of this evidence that we're talking about forward to show that this was a fraudulent election, or that the mail-in ballots were rigged, I don't think he has enough legs to stand on. This was not such a close call of an election. I mean, the president got, I believe, 70 million votes. President-elect Joe Biden is at like 76 million votes. So it's not really it's not a tight race, right? It is not a tight race. And I think, and I do believe at some point the president is going to step aside. I do believe he has to go through the emotional blow of losing, which he didn't think he was going to lose. He has to cater to his base. I've said that over and over and over again. He has to make these people feel like he's still mounting a fight, because they're not ready to give up. They're not ready to give up. So he has to go through this emotional journey that he's on. And pretty soon, I do believe he's going to step aside.
And again, you guys are in court. You guys understand this thing much better than I do. And I'm a late person in this here. At what point do you actually claim something a fraud? Do you articulate that and then find evidence, or do you present the evidence? What's the chronological order of presenting evidence?
I think you're right, Jonah. That what you just raised a very important point. I think what the president and his supporters have done is that they've put the cart before the horse, in the sense that even before the election was over, they started coming out with all these allegations of fraud. And I believe that the process, to me, should have been completed and some amount of analysis done to see whether or not anything, as they claim, had gone astray before coming forward and saying that there's so much voter fraud, with the mail-in ballot, with everything like that, without having the evidence. So no, what I do believe that they're doing is going in search of the evidence. And I'm not 100% sure, but I was made to believe that there was some kind of hotline that was set up after the fact.
Yeah.
For people to call in to say, okay, this happened and that happened. But all this should have been done prior to you saying, yes, there was some kind of voter fraud. But as I say, you're putting the cart before the horse. You can't do that. You have to have the evidence, then you bring your case.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's just so bad, Merit. When I look at people and I hear the argument, and if there's votes that was illegal votes or votes are not supposed to be counted, yes, that should never happen. That shouldn't happen at all.
Right.
The precedence of what this is setting, right? What this is telling to us, because our kids are watching. They're watching us. They're watching how we react to this thing here. We're saying that, okay, go out on the field, play soccer. And if you lose that soccer game, stay on that field and stamp your feet and kick up like you're mad. Do not leave that field, because nobody could beat you ever, 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 ever in life. My son plays soccer, and he's one of the best soccer players, I'll tell you that. But he lost the game the other day. And he basically left, and he's like, okay, well, I lost. I said, we got to practice that more. We got to do this more. We got to do this more. And that is what you teach your kids. So how now are you telling them to you're following this man kicking and stomping like an idiot? I'll say it here. And we telling our kids, this is Trump. And even some of our black people supporting this type of thing. And I don't understand it. For the life of me, I don't understand it. This is not how we act. This is not how people behave. This is not life. Anybody could beat you. You could lose. You don't know more than the general. You don't know more science than the scientists. You don't know more accounting than the accountants. You don't. A lot of things that you don't know, and admit that you don't know these things. He's just a pompous individual. I think that he could never lose, and that's not now. That's forever. That's how we see. That's how he is.
I guess, he's not used to being fired. And he was fired by the voters of this great nation, and he, for some reason, is taking it very, very hard, because he's not used to being fired. And if we go back to what President-elect Biden said in reference to whether or not Donald Trump would concede or what they're going through, and he himself said, look, I know how it feels to lose. I've lost a few elections before.
Yeah.
So we understand the disappointment in losing, but it should not be that your personal feelings should be affecting the country and the world so much, because people are looking everywhere. They're looking to what's going on and what's happening and what's going to be happening in the United States come, January. So it's a sore point.
Very, very bad. Guys, you're watching Ridelaong Live. We have attorney Diane Winter Funde and, of course, attorney Kevin Miller. Don't move, we'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are down to the 10th edition of Whitey Virtual Bingo. Have you tried it yet? Then, what are you waiting for? Join the fun online Sunday, November 15th from 6 p.m. and you can win $10,000 US. Yes, $10,000 US. Tickets are only $10 US. Get yours today at gotofed.com or from numerous box offices island-wide. Don't miss the 10th edition of Waggity Virtual Bingo. Sunday, November 15th. It's the new way to play bingo.
All right, and we're back. See how quick that was?
That was quick. That was quick.
That was real quick.
I know, but we didn't even talk about immigration. But
we gotta touch immigration. Of course, we gotta talk about immigration because that is very, very important. What about DACA? How is DACA going to be affected, especially in this lame duck period and in the new Biden administration? First, let's talk about the lame duck period. How is that going to affect DACA?
So I don't think anything is going to go on between now and January within the transition of power. I really doubt we're going to see any changes with immigration law during this transition period while we try to figure who becomes the next president of the United States. And you know, like for some people, I don't want to get hung up on President Trump or President Biden, because at some point, I do believe, like I said, Trump, he's going to step aside. He's going to step aside. So I think for immigration, we will not see many changes now that the president has a bigger battle to fight, because he's thinking about how do I retain my presidency. So I doubt we're going to see any movement. I know President-elect Joe Biden has said he's going to push through a bill like the moment he comes into office. He's putting through a bill with a pathway for over the 11 million undocumented individuals that are here, DACA recipients included. But between now and January, Junior, I don't see anything really much happening with and there's so much bad, Junior, that has been done with our immigration laws that I don't know that it's going to be a quick fix by President Biden. It's not going to be a quick fix because they're thinking about it. We have all the people waiting in Mexico. We have the restrictions brought on by the pandemic. We have the DACA recipients. There's so much bad that has been done that, you know, I don't even want immigrants to hold Joe Biden accountable his first term to fix all the mess that we have seen for the last 4 years. Because remember, the moment the president came into office, he started regulating and tightening immigration laws. So once President Biden comes in, it's going to be an uphill battle. He'll have to use some executive orders, use some policy matters. He'll have to do a lot to get rid of some of the icky stuff that the current administration has done to immigration.
Mela, what's your take on DACA?
Yeah, I support what Attorney Funde just said, because one of the things that we have to remember too is that President-elect Biden have on his very, very important list that he must deal with as soon as he takes that oath, and it has to do with this COVID-19 that we are currently fighting. And though immigration is paramount, immigration is important, but we must understand that this virus is paramount on his list. And as what Attorney Funde just mentioned, is that so many things have gone wrong and so many things were done under the Trump administration in regards to immigration that, in all honesty, we cannot expect President Biden to undo all of that in his first term, as what Attorney Funde just said, because it's a lot that must be fixed, you know. So I would think first and foremost he's going to be tackling the pandemic,
right,
hands down, and then in regards to immigration, then we just have to wait and see. You know, it should not be that we believe now that all immigration issues are going to be solved because President Biden is there. No, it's not going to be that. We're still going to have to, you know, go through all changes and challenges before we get to that point.
Yeah. What about the travel ban, Diane? You know, President Trump enacted what I initially call the Muslim ban, then kind of word it in a little better way to make it look as if it was a Muslim ban. Yeah. Anyway, what now becomes of the Muslim ban?
So I'm hoping to see some action because a lot of these were done by executive order. So I'm looking for President Biden to get rid of this would be one of those quick fixes.
Right.
The restrictions brought on by the pandemic are set to expire December 31st, right? Those are the ones that the president put in this March. And you and I covered the travel ban extensively. as it stands, we have 13 countries on the travel ban, majority Muslim countries and some African nations. So a lot of dark people are on the travel ban.
Right.
President Biden needs to deliver on his promises to the Black community and to the immigrant community. I know we have some domestic issues that needs to be addressed. For example, there's a pandemic, there's the economy, there's all of these domestic issues that we want to see as Americans addressed. However, he, during the debate, mentioned that whatever can be fixed quickly and easily, and I will point to the ban, these are easy things that you can take off the books so these people can continue to immigrate. We have people that from Syria, Nigeria, all of those countries, those 13 countries, we call them the IPSI countries, Yemen, those people cannot immigrate. They've been waiting, Junior. And we're talking about legal migration. This is not, I'm not even touching the Mexican border yet, what's going on there, which is a crisis. So all of these little quick fixes, I want to see the first 60 days in office. They always say that's the crucial, the first 60, the first 90 days. I want to see at least a bone given to the immigrant community. And this would be one area. The travel ban would be a great area where the president can say, look, let's just get a whiteout or an eraser and just get this off the books and free up this kind of legal immigration. Let these people come into their families. The petitions were filed, the dollars were paid, and these people were ready to go to a U.S. consulate for their interview, and the president stopped it.
Sad.
So I want to see some action on those applications.
And that as far as it relates to immigration, those executive orders that could happen. You don't have to go to Congress. You don't have to go.
You don't.
The Paris Accord is another thing, and we have the Paris Accord joining rejoining back the WHO. That's very.
These are easy fixes, and these are things that I'm looking to the new administration for to see if their bark is bigger than their bite or their bite is bigger than their bark. Because these are some things that can be easily, and I don't want to hear the excuses of, oh, we don't have the Senate. No, these are things that the President Biden can fix right away.
Yeah. Attorney Miller.
And that's why I mentioned, and I stated it very early, that as someone who grew up in politics, I want to see what is it that President-elect Biden is going to do. Because as Attorney Funda said, all of these that we're talking about, 90% of them were done through executive orders.
Yes.
And therefore, that 90% can be reversed by executive order. So we don't need to wait any long period of time for this to be done. And if President-elect Biden is serious about getting America to where we can say this is truly America and American-like, then there's no doubt that these executive orders should be rolling out as soon as he takes office in January.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, don't forget, if you have a question, we still have some more time. You can still call us 718-701-5720. Ask your question here to Attorney Deanna Winter-Fonda. We have two lawyers for you today, back to back. Double the impact. 718-701-5720. Fonda, foreign workers. That's another very important issue that we need to look at. There were a report that came in just yesterday where someone, I think was a apple picker in Canada, died, a Grenadian apple picker.
Oh, wow.
Condolences to the family. I'm going to reach out to the family. I just got it yesterday, and I said I would have done it. I didn't get a chance to do it. It's sad. But how does the new administration, how do you foresee the new administration working with foreign workers?
That's going to be a tough one, because when we talk about the domestic issues, right, we talk about unemployment. We're experiencing a high rate of unemployment. So I can see this not being an area that that President Biden would want to reopen, only because we have such a high unemployment right now. So the highly skilled workers that typically come in, I could see the president probably making the argument that we need these jobs for domestic workers instead of bringing bringing in foreign workers. However, what I would hope to see around that, I know the president, the outgoing president, increased like minimum wage for highly skilled workers, which was way above what most employers could pay. So maybe we can see some changes there where the president brings things back into perspective. But, you know, as far as bringing in additional workers, I can see where that might not be high on President Biden's list because of the pandemic. Again, we have our own, it's almost like them say, clean up your yard before you clean up other people's yard. So some of these rules, some of these regulations do make sense because of what's going on with COVID-19.
If I may.
I was corrected, before you answer that, I was corrected by Lydia James.
It's a farm worker. Mm-hmm.
Farm workers, yes. Thank you, Lydia James. Go ahead, Tony Miller.
So let me. I don't like this word, but I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate.
Sure.
That you said that these farm workers that comes to America every year to do certain kind of jobs, why were they coming here in the first place?
Oh, I'm sorry. I stand corrected. I said highly skilled. So I was not even addressing the farm workers. I'm talking about the regulations on our highly skilled workers.
Highly skilled.
The H-1Bs, because farm workers were still coming. I'm talking about our H-1Bs, our highly skilled, our tech. I think there's a few exceptions that he allowed in were medical, but our highly skilled workers, H-1B workers that he put a stop on. So I stand corrected. I meant the highly skilled workers.
Okay, so your response was not to farm workers.
No. Highly skilled.
Okay. All right, understood.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, good.
Because there's very little competition for the jobs that the farm workers hold.
Right.
So the regulation was placed on the highly skilled workers, or H-1Bs.
Okay.
All right. But as it relates to the farm workers, it will continue. Do you see any restrictions or increase in regulations as it relates to the farm workers?
I doubt it, only because, like I said, those jobs like picking apples and picking or farm, they're working on the farm. I doubt it. I know some of the J's, there were some restriction on some of the J's that, they work in the hotels. I don't know that there was. I think we'll be bringing back the farm workers. I don't know if we're going to see new numbers, but those that already are coming and going, I think that will continue.
Attorney Miller?
Yes, I think it will continue. And because I don't think there are any dire need to cut down on that working population, because it wouldn't make much of a change or an impact in the American economy, because from the get-go, these are workers these are jobs that Americans are not really doing or don't want to do. So it's not going to be making a major impact in our economy. So I don't foresee any changes with those. I understand what the is, because we're talking about the hotel infrastructure with the COVID and all that's going on. Then obviously, the economy is not so great in terms of the hotel industry and all of that. So yeah, that's understandable.
Right. Refugees. I know we brush in a lot of these topics because it's important that we touch on these things, because there are still people who are they have been treated a kind of way, especially refugees, and they're just sitting there and their fingers crossed, because with a new Biden administration, they're hoping that his plan is more receptive to refugees. How do you see that change coming across Funday?
So one of the things the president did immediately was traditionally the U.S. would accept, I believe, 125,000 refugees annually. The president reduced that number to 15,000. Again, this is one of those areas where I think, it will be a slow uptick, because it takes such a long time to move a refugee through the process. So remember, refugees are outside of the United States waiting to come in. There's a lot of vetting that's going on. So in the last year or two that we've had the slowdown of refugees, then even if President Biden were to say, look, we're going to put that number back to 100,000 or 120,000, that's not going to be a quick fix, because all these individuals will have to be vetted. Again, this is one of those areas where I say the president has done so much havoc to our immigration system. And when you think of refugees, these are people that are being persecuted in their home countries. These are people that have cooperated with the United States government, whether it's in Iran or Iraq or in, war zones. And these are people that were promised, like, look, once this is done, you'll come into the United States as a refugee under some circumstances. It is going to take a while to move these individuals through the system to get them back up to being vetted and ready to enter the United States. I would hope, again, this is one area, executive order, President Biden, move the number from 15,000, put it back to 100,000, and let all American employees that are vetting these individuals do their job.
Attorney Miller?
And it's also going to take an overhauling of the system, so to speak, because we also have to, well, not we, but the president also have to ensure that he puts the correct or the right people in the right places. Because if you have supporters of and I would say past administration or the outgoing administration, then you still would not see the type of turnaround that we are expecting to see. And look at it, from 125 to 15,000, that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So to get that number back up is going to take a lot of doing, and it's something that needs to be addressed. But I don't think it's one of those that we should anticipate or expect any quick fix from. But I suspect that he will be doing some things in regards to refugees, but not a quick fix. No, it's not going to be like that.
Right. Yeah. And this one is kind of, it's not topical now, but I know it was topical like in the middle of the Trump administration. Venezuela, foreign relation with Venezuela and Cuba. What do you foresee in the new Biden administration?
So President Biden has openly said he wants to at least do something for the Venezuelans. For my Caribbean people who's not aware, Venezuela is going through a nightmare.
Yes.
It's funny because of what's happening in the US, we're not paying attention to what's going on in, for example, Nigeria or Venezuela. Like there's a crisis on top of a crisis in these countries. So there's Corona, and then there's Venezuela is going through an absolute nightmare. President Biden has said he plans on doing something for Venezuelans. I am predicting it might be like a TPS, temporary protected status for Venezuelans that are here. I do believe there's going to be some kind of humanitarian program put in place for Venezuelans. As for the Cubans, I think you asked about Cubans. I think they're already taken care of under the Cuban Adjustment Act. So they're somewhat protected. So I think Venezuela is going to be high on the president's list because of what's going on with Maduro and everything that's going on there. There's a lot of Venezuelans that are making their way up to the border, the US-Mexico border. So I imagine that there's going to be some kind of protection given to Venezuelans. That's what I believe is going to happen.
Attorney Miller, what's your take on Venezuela foreign relations?
Based on what President Biden has said, there seems to be some kind of concentration, some kind of consideration in regards to the Venezuelans. And, I happen to have, a number of, asylum cases involving Venezuelans, and the situation is really, really, really bad.
It's dire.
It's really, really bad. And without going into it too much, these people really need help. And they have genuine situation. And it hurts to see that the outgoing administration have used the broad brush method to paint everyone without looking at specific situations or specific cases. And it is, of course, a sigh of relief for these Venezuelans. And I know, based on what I wouldn't say I know, but my gut feeling is that based on what President Biden has hinted at in regards to these Venezuelans, I do believe that he's going to make some changes in regards to Venezuela.
Yeah, I think that has to be one of the top priorities as well, because as we said, people are not paying attention. They probably think that America, and they're not really looking at what happening down there. But Venezuela, Lord have mercy. You know what I mean?
And Venezuelans are moving into Trinidad.
Yeah, because it's so close.
There's hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans moving in. And then the economy, I don't know if there are any Trinidadians on this, but the Trinidadian economy cannot absorb that. It cannot support the needs of, and I'm not saying America is the only place they can go, but, you know, I think we have to treat our neighbors to the south a little bit more kinder.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's immigration, but everything kind of come together. You can't talk immigration if you don't talk foreign relation. If you don't talk about coronavirus, you know, if you don't talk about globalization. So we had to talk about all these things. That's why I'm happy when we have a Wednesday where we could talk about all this stuff. You know, I mean, it's primarily to talk about immigration, but there's so much moving parts that you cannot ignore those other moving parts. It's equally important. So I appreciate it. Funday, you know, as always, people, they need information on immigration. People still need to file for their green cards, still need to get their naturalization, still need to get their visas to come up. Give them your phone number, contact information, so people could reach you when they want to talk to you privately about those matters.
Absolutely. And I always encourage, look, my number operator, I don't even have to say it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's how I know I'm a regular.
Yeah.
I have to say, no matter what's going on, if you're in this country and you're undocumented, pay attention to your immigration case. Do not wait for a president to change. That's what some people are telling me. Oh, I want to wait to see what Biden does when Biden comes in. Do not wait. Take advantage of whatever is going on now. File your paperwork now. Seek your immigration relief now. 813-815-3529 to make you can book a consultation with me. 813-815-3529. Thank you for posting that number. But like I said, you know, take care of your business now. Do not wait for any kind of changes or in the hope that there's going to be this quick fix to a broken immigration system once the administrations change.
And Attorney Miller, he also does criminal law as well. Where do you practice, Attorney Miller?
Well, I practice here in Tampa, Florida. Well, Florida in general, but I'm concentrating mainly in South Florida, in the Fort Lauderdale area, as well as here in Tampa. So you can reach me at 813-420-3901. That's 813-420-3901.
Okay, I'm gonna have Deanne Fraser put that up in the chat there as well. It's good to have lawyers on call, like you guys, like you know, with Funday, like Funday, I have a problem. Funday, you know?
Absolutely, I'll try to fix it, or I'll refer you to somebody who can.
Sometime in the middle of the night, Funday, I have a problem. Oh, Gina, don't worry, don't lose sleep over this.
Not a big deal. Go to bed.
Go to bed. That's the number, right? 813-420-3901. You could call Attorney Miller and, of course, Attorney Deanna Winter. Funday is always great to have you guys on the program.
It's so short. Why are we done already? We just got here.
That's what it is. That's what it is, Funday. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Okay, Dion. All right, Dion we need Kevin's number. You went too fast. Okay, she got it.
Yes, you got it.
420-3901. Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Deanne don't miss, you know. Deanne don't miss.
Sharp. Thank you, Dion Fraser. We appreciate you.
Guys, thank you so much. And again, we're going to continue this conversation when anything breaks, because we have the 15th of December where the votes are going to be verified. And then we have January 20th.
Yes.
Right.
Inauguration.
The official date. So we're going to be watching what happened from now up until this point and keep you guys abreast of what's happening. But still, guys, if you have a story to tell, please inbox us. Let us know. We want to share your story. This is Ridelaong Live, where everybody have a story to tell. Let's go around the room. Attorney Miller, any last closing words?
Well, first, I want to say thanks for having me, Junior. Thanks to Attorney Funde for inviting me. I feel like I'm a part of the family now.
Of course.
And I look forward to coming on your show ever so often. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start coming without even being invited.
Don't even wait for invite. Don't even wait for invite. It's just let me tell you about the family. The family, that's how we are. We just jump on. Just jump on. And I love your perspective. So we're gonna be having you on various the other platforms here as well, or other programs. So we really love your insights. And thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with us here.
And I want to just say, Junior, to all the listeners out there who might have had some kind of issues with the law in regards to criminal defense, one of the things I want to leave with you is that never, ever, ever, especially when you're immigrants. So let me talk specifically to my immigrants. Never, ever, ever plead to any crime, no matter how small it is, even a misdemeanor, traffic offense. Never plead until you talk to an immigration attorney, because when a deal might sound good, it might look good, but as an immigrant who has a green card or less, whatever the crime is, it doesn't matter how small or how huge, it has implications for immigration status. So always consult with an immigration attorney before you accept any kind of deals from the prosecutor. And as a former prosecutor, believe me when I say never ever be too quick to accept any kind of deals.
Wow. I think I hope you're not falling on deaf ear. This is important information that the community needed to hear. Dione and Attorney Miller, thank you so much, guys. Diana, I'm trying to play a song.
I'm like, are we just gonna leave dry stuff?
I know. You realize what happened?
I was like getting ready. I'm like, where's my beat?
No. I'm in the complete dark.
I'm just gonna keep talking. What happened to your light?
It just cut off.
Oh, you didn't pay your light bill in the car?
Well, you look like me now, Juna, because my background is not like Attorney Funde's. I'm gonna have to take care of my background.
She's highlighted right now because they can hardly see me. You guys can see me. I'm still here.
We can't see you. We can't see you, Junior. No, but seriously, the advice given today, I know we're preaching to the audience because these are our regular folks, but if you can share the advice given from Attorney Miller or myself, share what we're saying. Don't always just come in here, listen, and then leave, because the purpose of this program is to educate and inform our communities. So Geraldine, go to bed in Canada. You must be so tired. Thank you for watching, everybody, and walk good.
Yeah, walk good.
Until
next time, guys. And also, I got to tell you guys really quickly that that if you have or looking for a production company to handle any kind of visual production, maybe wedding, concerts, what have you, call the Ridelaong team, Ridelaong video production team. They'll take care of you. Call the number on the screen right there. You see 718-701-5720. Hey, wedding, concerts, virtual events, you got to call them right now. The number is 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Also, I got to tell you about this. We are having this event that I've been telling you about. We push it back closer to Christmas, but it's going to happen. Our first shopping spree, we're going to be giving $1,000 shopping spree, $500 to each Grenada and $500 to someone in Carriacou. We're going to spread this out around the Caribbean. The last day to nominate someone is this Friday. All right, this Friday, last day, last 2 days. You have 2 more days to nominate someone. Inbox us if you want to nominate someone for a $500 shopping spree. The ability to run through any supermarket and pick up $500 worth of groceries on us. We'll front the bill. All right. Thanks again, guys. We appreciate you. On behalf of everybody here at Team Ridelaong, we say good night.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Hey, I got some good news for you. Looking for a passionate immigration lawyer with experience that spans over 2 decades? Someone trusted that served immigrant families just like yours? Well, look no more. Now you can benefit from her personal and professional experience. Diane Winter Funde. Schedule a consultation now and get assistance with your immigration journey. Specialize in adjustment of status, B1 business visa, B2 visitor's visa, consular processing, deportation defense, naturalization, and more. Give us a call today at 813-815-3529. That's 813-815-3529 or online at winterimmigration.com. Attorney Diane Winter Funde. Law done differently.
A message by the Grenada Distillers Limited.
You want a hand sanitizer to do 3 things: kill germs, be gentle, and to go where you go. You can get all of that in our hand sanitizer. Hard on germs, gentle on hands, affordable. Remember, hand sanitizers contain alcohol. Keep away from heat and flames and avoid contact with eyes. Available at retailers island-wide.
A message by the Grenada Distillers Limited.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are down to the 10th edition of White Team Virtual Bingo.
Have you tried it yet?
Then, what are you waiting for? Join the fun online Sunday, November 15th from 6 p.m. and you can win $10,000 US. Yes, $10,000 US. Tickets are only $10 US. Get yours today at gotofed.com or from numerous box offices island-wide. Don't miss the 10th edition of Wacky Team Virtual Bingo. Sunday, November 15th. It's the new way to play bingo.
You're constantly thinking of food, but sometimes you just don't want to cook or want something a little different. That's when you call Tasties, preparing meals that you really love. Tasties, our mouth-watering food, would have you coming back every day. But hold on, we only prepare meals Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for now. Call early because we have a lot to serve and we would love to serve you. Tasties, we prepare the meals you love to eat. From macaroni pie to baked chicken, provision dumpling and saltfish, stewed chicken, curry chicken, baked chicken, rice and peas, salads, and more. Please call for daily menu. Call 425-0624 or 403-0411. You can pick up your meals from us or we deliver it to you. Tasties, food that's delicious.
Ridelaong Live, where everyone has a story to tell.